Sowing into eternity. I sit here quietly, and something begins to settle deeper in my spirit. Giving was never meant to keep me bound to this earth. It was never about clinging tightly to what I hold, nor was it about calculating what comes back to me. The Father is teaching me that giving is not just an action, it is an invitation into eternity. I begin to see the difference now. There is a law God has placed into creation, the law of sowing and reaping. From the very beginning, He spoke it into existence. As long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. And this law is true. Even those who do not know Him, even those who do not see His face, they can sow and they will reap. The world has discovered this law and called it generosity, called it energy, called it karma, called it strategy. And yes, in its simplest form, it works. Give and you receive. Plant and you harvest. Open your hand and your life expands. But for us, for those in Christ, there is something infinitely higher, something beyond this earthbound principle. We do not give to gain. We give because we have already received everything. We sow, but we are not sowing merely into the soil of this world. We are sowing into eternity. Paul's words rise softly in my heart, open quote, "Upon the first day of the week, let each one of you set aside something as God has prospered him." 1 Corinthians 16, verse 2, close quote. I hear it now differently than before. Paul is not commanding them to meet a quota. He is inviting them to recognize something profound. Everything you give flows from what He has first given you. I breathe deeply here because this changes everything for me. When I release something, I am not letting go into emptiness. I am letting go into God, and nothing given into His hands is ever lost. I begin to see my life differently. My time, my words, my love, my resources, they are all seeds, and every seed carries eternity inside it. Every act of generosity is a thread woven into God's eternal story. I remember Paul's words again, open quote, "He who sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully." 2 Corinthians 9:6, close quote. But this bounty is not measured in numbers, not counted by earthly standards. It is measured in transformation. Because each time I give, something shifts inside me. My heart loosens, my grip releases, my identity aligns more closely with His. Giving was never about emptying my pockets. It was always about filling my soul. And I see now, too, how deeply this flows into God's heart for people. The poor, the orphan, the widow, the forgotten. James whispers gently, open quote, "Pure and undefiled religion before God the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their trouble, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world." Close quote, close quote. Pure, undefiled, untouched by pride or performance. This is giving that carries eternity within it. When my generosity is not transactional but transformational. I look at the life of Jesus, and I see it so clearly. He never gave to get. He gave because He is the outpouring of the Father's heart. Every healing, every word of kindness, every moment of compassion, it was eternity breaking into time. And now His Spirit lives in me. That same flow is within me, waiting to move through me. I think of John's words, "And they pierce me gently." Open quote. "Whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother in need and shuts up his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in him?" 1 John 3:17, close quote. This is not a command to give. This is an invitation to recognize when I give, I am simply allowing His love to find its expression through me. And yet I pause here because I see the danger too, when giving becomes performance, when generosity becomes system, when we follow formulas to feel spiritual. I realize now how easy it is to do the act without touching the heart, to obey the pattern but miss the person. This is why debates over tithing, percentages, formulas, and doctrines so often leave people dry and divided. Because giving was never meant to be a method. It was always meant to be a mirror, a reflection of the giver himself forming his heart within us. I close my eyes and I feel His whisper rise. "Do not give to earn me. Do not give to find me. You already have me, and I have given myself fully to you." And in that moment I understand, giving is not something I do for God. Giving is something God does in me. When I release, it is His hand opening. When I bless, it is His voice speaking. When I love, it is His heart overflowing. And suddenly, this becomes so much more than generosity. This becomes union. This becomes becoming. I am no longer sowing into systems. I am sowing into eternity. I am no longer chasing blessings. I am living inside them. I am no longer measuring amounts. I am measuring His nature formed within me. And now I see why Jesus said, "Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal." Because when I sow into eternity, nothing can take it away. Every seed of compassion becomes eternal light. Every act of kindness becomes eternal fruit. Every moment I yield to His generosity forms something in me that cannot be shaken, cannot be stolen, cannot be lost. And so I rest in this. I am not giving to earn eternity. I am giving because eternity has already entered me.